Hello, my name is Brother Sean, and I am a member of the Teo community of Interspiritual Franciscans. And for those who don't know me, I'm here not to intimidate or threaten you in any way with religiosity, but to speak to your heart and to share with you a part of my journey. And the theme I'm guided to share is my coming home. Coming home to what? A madhouse? A house full of clutter? An unkempt place? A house of crises? A house with no electricity or power? You could say that that really resembles my life up until 2007, where I looped from pillar to post, where I was in crisis, or as they say on the street today, a drama queen. Oh yes, that was me. But recently I had the good fortune and blessing to be able to leave my little monastic oasis, where I haven't really been away on a retreat for a few years. So my two friends, Rob and Jean, drove me to the most beautiful island, the Isle of Uist, in the Upper and Outer Hebrides in Scotland. Yes, it was a long journey. But what came about in those 9 days away from my little oasis was transforming. Transforming on many levels, because it allowed me be me. It allowed me find me. And I recommend that we all retreat from the world, retreat from materialism, retreat from drama and crisis, retreat from that egoic self that seeks to destroy our inner peace. My coming home was a process. It was a journey. The first few days weren't as easy as I thought they would be, because I struggled. I struggled in a strange place, in a strange bed, a different bed. I was out of my comfort zone completely. But I persevered. I didn't give in. There was times when I wanted to put my few belongings in a case and get on the ferry and get back home, because at times I was feeling very insecure. But it was my head. All old fears of childhood, fears when I was a young nursing Catholic monk, all resurfaced, and I was feeling very alone and vulnerable, until I just screamed from my lungs, Lord God, help me. Help me to find the real me, the true me, the lovable me that you like. Help me to come home to myself. Help me to be true to myself. Help me to honor who I am, and to stop pretending to be the Mother Teresa who can solve every problem for anybody. To stop me being a rescuer, or something under one's shoe, a doormat. Oh, I've been all those things. And I guess having been a nurse for 38 years hasn't helped, because I believe many of us who have given our life to nursing, a laudable profession, we somehow seem to attract needy, clingy people. And I guess I'm no exception. But the spiritual retreat allowed me see life in a different concept. It allowed me eventually to find me. And what's so interesting, it allowed me embrace what God sees in me from the heart. Because in my head, all the memories I have of me are the put-me-downs from my father, my family and friends and colleagues, where I'm literally a pain in the rear end. Because there's a part of me that can be a bit of a dictator, a bully, without meaning to be. But I guess that's insecurity, don't you think? But coming home to my true self has allowed me prioritize what is important in my life today. And yes, I'm wearing an unusual uniform because that's part of my journey, where I opted out and opted in, as they say, where I've given my life for peace as a member of a beautiful family, the Teo community of St. Francis, that I believe is the fourth order that Francis created back in 2008 when he spoke to my heart, to invite brothers and sisters of different faiths to come together, to pray together, which we do online, on live stream every morning and evening, then our vigil at 8 o'clock or in the evening, and then our 12 midnight slot, which we use as a time of healing self with the risen cosmic Christ. And though we're scattered around the world, our sense of unity comes through the internet, because many of us live the simple life that Francis lived, from our own home, our monastery without walls. So my online community have helped me in many ways to come to that place of recognizing my homecoming. And we each need to take stock, don't we? And to reevaluate what is relevant in our life today. Don't we surround ourselves with so much clutter? And it's like having a spring clean or a spiritual MOT. For me, it was all of that and more besides, because I guess it allowed me recognize that within the adult Sean, there was a little boy who was still hurting, who needed love, who needed to be told that he was precious and special too. And though that little boy was abused, and that little boy went on to become the adult Sean today that you see before you, who has worn many, many masks. And when people ask you, how are you, Sean? And I say, I'm fine, or I'm grand. But we're lying, because in our being we're hurting. We might be afraid, anxious, worried about ourselves, our health issues, our family, our friends, global issues, especially today where mankind has taken a different turn and become so egocentric and self-centered and wrapped up in oneself. Where is the sense of community? I think it's going to take a world major impact, a disaster of sorts, God help us, to reawaken within all of us that we need one another, that we cannot go through this life independently alone. We're not self-sufficient. We need each other, as I need my brothers and sisters in the Teo community. But you know what is so moving and inspirational for my heart is that I know I belong to something that is real. And I know that within my heart there is a respect for my brothers and sisters, because we each come to one another with unconditional love. We make no demands. Unlike the community I lived in as a nursing monk, where there was an awful sense of fear. You were never good enough. You were never properly called by your name. It was always a generic title. There was so much fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of being sent home and disgracing your family. But today, things are differently for me, because I don't live in fear of God, because I don't buy religion. I live to the rule book of religion. And I now realize as a much older man that I was controlled. Yes, controlled. Controlled in my emotions, in my feelings, in my thinking, in how I expressed myself, how I lived my life. There was so much control. But thank God, through a complete breakdown 14 years ago, when a dear friend died, it catapulted me into mental illness. But you know, the plus side of that was that it gave me a new beginning. And in time I became aware that my God wasn't a God of fear after all. That was my mind dictating to my heart, whereas now it's my heart that's dictating to my mind. And I guess help came to me through the teachings of the Essenes, which I live by. It is so good to come home to yourself, because when you truly stand at your front door and look out at the world, and you can lift your arms out and say, I've come home to my truth, and that I am willing to face whatever, because I know I'm not alone. And I'm not alone. I'm surrounded by the company of heaven. I'm surrounded by love. And as I shared earlier, I do not buy into religion. Religion for me was part of my ruination, because it blocked my heart. It fed my egoic self with a lot of nonsense. But through illness, those shackles were set free, and I began a different journey. A journey of embracing other people's thoughts and feelings, and reading more about the great spiritual teachers, Muhammad, Rumi, Mir Baba, Buddha, Confucius, Gandhi. And I feel so blessed and privileged to be given a head start. But I am aware that in moments of vulnerability, I can sense the old Catholic guilt coming back, wanting to tie me up in knots. But the beauty of coming home to yourself through a spiritual retreat is that you begin a journey of exploration, of not seeing yourself as others see you, of not seeing yourself how you see yourself, but allowing the Christ, the risen cosmic Christ, speak to your heart. And that comes about when you ask. So many today have expectations. Some young people today have an expectation that society owes them. Society doesn't owe me anything. It owes me nothing. But what I would like to say is that the charism of Francis of Assisi was more than just demonstrating the love of his God in his life. It was about celebration. It was about celebrating the gifts that you and I have been given as a unique child of God, a beloved of God. I have met so many people and I shared their thoughts. Well, what gifts do I have? What qualities do I have? We often undermine ourselves, don't we? We really do put ourselves down. Or we do the opposite. We build ourselves up for a great fall. and allow people feed our ego. And I've seen it with so many good friends who've gone on the path of spiritualism. Beautiful therapists that were guided to me by Magdalena and the Christ. And then they'd go off on a tangent and they'd lose themselves in this need to be needed. And they'd create disciples who would feed their ego and insecurity. We've all been there, we've all done it. And I'm no exception to the rule. But I will say this, going on a retreat, a spiritual retreat, a silent retreat, takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage. Because you are stepping out of your comfort zone. But you're not doing it alone. You're doing it in trust. Because the I Am presence within you is guiding you to face your greatest fear. To honor those fears. To bless them. And then wait for it, the big one. To release them to the Supreme. But today many people hold on to their fear, their anxieties, because they in turn become their security, their prop. And I know I've had many props in my life. I've made so many excuses, it's untrue. But I do this short video to allow you revisit who you are and have your own homecoming and celebrate your gifts. Each child of God has been given a gift. I love sewing, tapestries, needlework. I love cooking. I love admiring landscapes. I've not seen many of them since 2007 when I became enclosed, until recently when I travelled up to the borders and seen the most beautiful mountains, the most magnificent waterfalls coming from the rock face, the lochs, the deer, the eagles. Oh my word, what an assault on my senses. But I share with you now the need to recognize that you too have a gift. It may be listening. It may be supporting someone in need. It may be something as simple as doing the housework and enjoying it. It may be that you're a good talker, a good organizer. You can sing, but don't use your voice. You can dance, but your legs are frozen. We each have to find those gifts. And it dawned on me on retreat that God has given me many gifts, and I've not used them. And I remember way back when someone said to me, you know, through your voice, God really touches my heart. And I dismissed it. I guess I was arrogant or just forgetful. And then it hit me that the love I have for the Supreme is not a judgmental love, and it's not a love that I enforce on you. It's a personal love. It's my journey, not yours. It's my story. It's my journey. And I'm not a fundamentalist that's on a bandwagon to convert people to God, because that couldn't be further from the truth. I'm here to share with you the importance of coming home to yourself and finding the beautiful gifts that you too were given before you were born. And I'm going to use the gifts that God gave me, such as doing this YouTube video, and allow the cosmic Christ speak through me, and allow His love touch your heart, whoever you may be, so that you will know that you matter, that your life is of importance, that you have something to share, that you are a unique creation and a child set apart. to give praise and glory in the Cathedral of God, nature. And I guess that's why I love being a follower of Francis. The love of creation, the love of the animal kingdom. Such great teachers, don't you think? I'm at best not in a stuffy church where you've got a ritualistic type service, which is beautiful, but it's not me. My heart, my worship with God is in nature, when I'm walking through the woods, when I'm walking by the shores of the sea, when I sit on a rock and look at the landscape at the sunset. That's my prayer to God, admiring the beauty of creation, for that is the greatest prayer. And receiving the gift and acknowledging the presence of the Supreme in creation. How many times have you driven in your car through the countryside and stopped to hear the birds sing? Or to get out of the car and just breathe in the air of nature? You see, we do take things for granted. And it's so important, isn't it, to slow down that car, our life, to switch off the ignition, our head, and turn on God's radio and listen to the angels sing to us, to embrace Gaia and the animal kingdom, to allow them feel safe with you. As you sit in the woodland, you can feel the love of the animal kingdom, and they come to you, the rabbits, the birds. Oh, how blessed we are. So let us celebrate our gift through our homecoming, and let us use our gifts as a prayer and honor the Supreme in our heart by allowing these gifts become a living, loving, tangible expression of who we are as a child of God. And allow that love eradicate all fear and anxiety from our life, and that we enjoy each day as a new celebration of our homecoming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if I can help you in any way, the details of our websites are actually mentioned in the information about the video. But may I wish you God's blessing. Namaste. Shalom. Inshallah paxet bonum om shanti. Solo de caritas. May the peace of God go with you. Thank you.